Earlier this year, the wearables brand Coros, primarily aimed at runners, hikers, and mountain climbers, launched its first GPS head unit for cycling, the Dura. And I've charged this thing fully just once in 6 months. And that is indeed the highlight of this device, but we'll dive into much, much more. Let's do it. The Dura was launched back in June of this year, and Coros, well, they faced a little bit of backlash when they launched this product from a handful of reviewers. And sure, there were some obvious flaws and annoyances, but for me, the main thing I look for in a cycling head unit is ease of use, battery life, and seeing my route uploaded on a map. And it delivered on those right out of the box. Now, I'm not downplaying any of, well, the device's issues at launch, and I do think it might have been rushed to the market. However, with recent firmware updates, the device has more or less become what Coros kind of envisioned or wanted, a simple, easy-to-use unit that has insane battery life. Yeah. So before we move along, I just want to mention that this video is supported in part by Old Man Mountain. Dealing with a jostling and swaying load can be a real headache, but Old Man Mountain racks have you covered, keeping your gear snug and secure and allowing you to concentrate on the trail instead of adjusting a wiggling load behind you. These racks are designed for both small and heavy loads, offering incredible versatility that fits nearly any bike thanks to their fit kits. So if you're in the search for a more secure storage option, Old Man Mountain has a solution for you. So to check out the range of Old Man Mountain racks, click on the card in the top right corner, or else follow the link in the description below. Comparing the device to others, focusing say on size and layout here, the 98-gram Dura measures 99.5 by 60.8 millimeters and is 15.7 millimeters thick, striking a pretty good balance between size and weight. It's definitely smaller than the Garmin Edge 1040 Solar, but larger than the Wahoo Bolt, fitting kind of somewhere in between the Element Roam and the Hammerhead Karoo. Though skinnier than both of those, and it also comes with these kind of flared out edges. While it might not be the most elegant design, it's certainly not annoyingly large, which is a priority for me. Coros installed a monocrystalline silicone solar panel on top of the device to assist in charging, and right below that sits the main screen. As for buttons, the Dura keeps it super simple. It uses an oversized version of its watch dial on the right side, which scrolls through settings and options for easy navigation, while doubling as a selection button. The only other button sits right below the dial, serving as a lap or back button. So on the bottom here, you have a weather-sealed USB-C charge port, which you really won't need to use too much. And next to that is a lanyard port. While the first units that were shipping didn't actually include lanyards, it is now standard with all units, along with a super long USB-C cord, a Dura mount, and mount shims. However, the mount is not compatible with 35mm bars. So Dura uses Garmin's quarter turn mounting system, which actually worked really well with their specific mount, but I found that it flew off a few of my aftermarket K-Edge mounts that I own. I ended up actually chatting with Coros about this, and they have since addressed this by actually reworking the quarter turn piece on the back of the unit itself, and now all new units will ship with this upgrade. So the device is a touch screen which measures 2.7 inches diagonally, and it is a little smaller than the Hammerhead Karoo, but similar size to the Wahoo Element Roam. And honestly, I actually often forget that it is a touch screen because, well, I prefer using this oversized dial on the side, and really there is not very much touch screen functionality on the device. The Dura comes with a memory in pixel display, which is great for lower power consumption. I found it easy to read in the sunlight with the normal backlight setting, but you can adjust between two backlight levels in the settings for more fine tuning. And while it's not a super elegant on-screen experience like, say, the Karoo, it gets the job done for me. So the device also features dual frequency satellite tracking with auto GPS mode selection. This means it can receive signals from 2 different satellite frequency bands, something that is, well, becoming standard in most recent devices that we've tested. This improves accuracy and reliability, especially in challenging environments with like cities, forests, or mountains, and ultimately, well, helps conserve battery life. You can fine-tune the satellite settings, but I actually kept it on auto, and well, the device was very accurate during navigation and when reviewing my tracks afterward. So rounding out the specs, the Dura includes Bluetooth and ANT+, has 32 gigabytes of internal storage and built-in temperature sensor. That sensor, however, certainly captures warmer than true air temperature readings, but that is similar to many other units that I've tested, especially the Garmin models. I should also note that the device does not have an off button. In fact, if you really wanted to turn the device off, you need to go deep into the menu to do so. But this is on purpose because it is made to just go to sleep, which means that you actually can start it up quicker and go for a ride faster. All you need to do is press the lower button here to wake the device up. Speaking of on-device functionality, the Dura offers a very pared down, simple user experience, which is refreshing, especially compared to the Garmin Edge 1040 Solar that I recently reviewed and other devices out there too. It's exactly how I want it to be. However, out of the box, you press, well, the small lower button here on the right, and you will be prompted to download the Coros app. To some, the fact that the Dura can't function independently from a smartphone is a downside. Still, the Coros app enhances the experience by providing updates, route management, data syncing, and access to more features. I'll get into this all soon. So as you familiarize yourself with the device, you'll likely spend most of your time on this main page. This gives access to basic settings, routes stored on the device, workouts, and training plans if uploaded, battery usage, ride history, and more. So I usually only choose the mountain bike or MTB or gravel option to start a ride, but have tinkered with other things such as the accessory pairing page and the settings page to adjust, say, color, tones, and backlight levels. When you click a ride type, you're prompted with options like start, navigation, and activity alerts. And to follow a specific route, you'll need to select navigation, where you can actually then choose a variety of the pre-loaded routes synced via your smartphone or compatible third-party apps. It also lets you view your data fields like split screen or full screen. Yeah, really, it's pretty darn straightforward, super easy, but there are some nuances when we get into the navigation, which we will touch on soon. Once you press start on that ride, then the ride begins tracking. And during the ride, the lower button functions as a lap button, and the upper dial pauses the ride if you press it in. You can't really interact much with the device mid-ride other than scrolling through data fields either using the dial or touch screen. However, a new update is the status bar, which you can activate by simply pressing anywhere on the touch screen. It will display the time, the temperature, connected accessories, and battery level. So when you pause the ride by pressing the scroll dial in, you'll see the same options as before starting your ride, with additional ones like save later. So this feature is really cool. It lets you pause a ride and resume it at a different time, hours later, maybe days later. So for bike packers, this means that you can stop when you reach camp and start again the next day, continuing on the same track, something that I know folks will appreciate. When your ride is complete, all you have to do is press the finish button and hold it for 3 seconds to complete it. If you're connected to Wi-Fi or using mobile data, the ride will automatically upload to the Coros app and any connected third-party apps like Strava. All in all, it's really simple, and when I really wanted to hone in options like data fields and uploading routes, I do that on the app. The Coros app is really where you can fine-tune your device, but it's much more than just a back end for the Dura. Sure, it integrates your Dura into the main app, showing you analytics, but since I also use a Coros Pace 3, this watch, it also tracks my sleep, heart rate variability, stress, and much more. I could probably do a whole video on the Pace 3 and the Coros app and how everything works, but I will spare you those details for now. Long story short, I got tired of using my Whoop and I switched to Coros, and I absolutely love the size, the ability to tell time, and the features that come along with it. So on the app's main page, there's a profile tab at the bottom right where you can manage all of your Coros devices, such as the Dura. I'm not going to dive into this too much, but the app gives you the ability to change your data field similar to other devices, and obviously lets you edit them in a way you like. Both, say, full screen and split screen modes let you kind of customize your fields to your kind of preferences and needs. It's simple and gives me basically everything I need, plus a lot I don't, like training metrics and stuff like that. And real quick, I'm not going to touch on training at all in this video, but that's definitely a focus for this device and Coros as a whole, as a brand. I like checking out some of the app metrics, the training metrics, but since I don't use a power meter anymore, I really don't use many of the training features on this device. However, the device seems to offer most, if not all, training features other devices provide. All right, so with any new products, even iPhones, well, you're gonna have some hiccups with new products. And while Coros may have had a few after launch, they definitely have done a pretty good job of addressing most of those issues that many have encountered. In fact, oh, what is that? Oh yeah, cornbread. I gotta take it out of the oven. Shoot, oh no. Oh no. All right, look at this. Got some cornbread muffins. They didn't really come out all that well. I mean, they're all right, but yeah, I neglected them, I think. Anywho, let's get back to it. So in fact, they finally are offering features that most other devices have, and while no doubt there will continue to be updates and issues fixed, it's a fine-tuned unit and competitive with other head units on the market, offering features like lap summary page, real-time elevation profile, upcoming climbs page, automatic reroute, training data fields, navigating to start, and so on. I'll touch on a few of these in a moment, but first, let's dive into battery life. Battery life is life. The main reason I love the Dura is battery life. Plain and simple. I've only fully charged it once, and the other time I briefly topped it off before a bike packing trip just to ensure I had a functioning USB-C cable because I had a few that were not working. Anyways, right now I'm sitting at around 40% battery on my second charge. Over the last 5 months, I've used the device 70 times, covering over 1,200 miles in 164 hours, including many rides before the firmware update that optimized battery life. So many of those rides were on routes uploaded and followed on the device and paired with, say, my watch, multiple sensors like radar and SRAM access shifting. Coros claims the Dura provides 120 consecutive hours in full GPS mode on a single charge, and based on my experience, well, that seems to be pretty accurate. At first, I did notice that the battery drained much faster than expected, but it was still much better battery life than, say, the Garmin Edge 1040 Solar. But after the July 19th firmware update, battery life, well, significantly improved. Since then, aside from testing a cable, I haven't actually needed to charge it. So this summer, on some rides, I was actually gaining more power as I was consuming, while at other times it was balancing out. Mostly I was in the negative, but it wasn't by much. So after each ride, the device actually shows battery usage. This is pretty cool. So it shows total consumption, solar gain, and remaining battery life. One telling experience was a 9-hour day in fully sunny conditions in early October, where I consumed 9.7% of the battery while following and navigating a route. I gained 6.2% from solar, leaving me at a 3.5% net loss, which to me, I think is great. Without sun, though, it is a different story. On a 7-hour ride through trees in cloudy, kind of rainy conditions in early September, I consumed 9.4% while following a route and paired with other devices like my watch, gaining only 0.5% from solar. So that resulted in an 8.9% total drain for the day. While days like those are rare in the high desert of central Colorado or by Gunnison here, it is a good indication of what to expect in, say, less sunny environments. So during rides, a little sun icon appears in the upper right corner to indicate UV strength, which is nice, though I actually wouldn't mind a full data screen specifically for that, and maybe real-time solar gain information similar to that on the Garmin Edge solar units. All right, so outside of riding, I was told that the device charges when you're not in an activity, even when the screen is in sleep mode, or get this, when it's turned off. In fact, Coros mentioned that if the device is dead, you can leave it on the ground or in the sun and it should charge enough to turn it back on. However, I didn't actually notice any gain or loss when I left it in the sun for a few hours at a time. So I'm not too sure how well this works, but I definitely will try to report back when I run out of juice on this thing and attempt to turn it on via solar. Speaking of solar, the Dura uses 4 small monocrystalline silicone panels at the top of the device. So these panels maximize energy generation in a really small, compact spot and are durable for rugged outdoor use. And they're also highly efficient in direct sunlight, which is where cycling computers typically are used. In the end, paired with the device's efficiency, robust battery, and solar charging capabilities, it almost feels like this device was made for us bike packers. Now, as far as battery health, I'm not actually too sure how the small solar gains will actually affect the longevity of the lithium-ion battery, but I certainly will report back on this as soon as I have more time with it or more information on that. As far as the navigation or the map page, the maps on the device are fairly basic. Coros uses OpenStreetMapping or OSM, which includes worldwide detailed information on roads, trails, rivers, and more, but it doesn't offer topography. This is similar to what Wahoo, Hammerhead, and Garmin use, with a few minor differences. You can download maps directly to the device via the map manager in the app, and it's super easy, but you do need Wi-Fi to do so. The maps are relatively easy to read, and if you want to kind of zoom in or see what might be ahead, that is exactly where the touch screen comes in handy. Following a route is simple and intuitive, but you do need to upload the route first, and there are a few ways to do this. The easiest method is to use, say, Ride with GPS or Strava. These third-party apps make building and syncing routes pretty straightforward. In Ride with GPS, on a route page, all you have to do is just click the 3 dots next to the route, the top right corner, select Send to Coros, or if you've synced it recently, all you have to do is click Send to Coros again. For Strava, after building a route, all you have to do is simply start. In both cases, all you have to do then is go to the Coros app, click My Routes, tap the plus sign in the top right corner, and the route will appear. You can then select or deselect your route here as needed. Another option is to push the route to the device via your phone. For example, in the Ride with GPS app, you can export the GPX file and push it to the Coros app directly. If doing this often, well, you'll want to make sure it's easier, so all you have to do is add the Coros app to your favorites to avoid scrolling every time. Once you export the file, you can quickly hit the Coros icon and it will open in the Coros app, where you can then save the route. Now, you may need to actually change the activity type here to bike instead of run. I think it defaults as run before saving. And maybe this is a little glitch that Coros needs to work out, but I did notice that a few times after using this method. After that, you can send the route to the Dura device, and if it's a small file, the transfer is actually really quick. Now, the third way is to build the route directly in the Coros app. It's fairly intuitive and straightforward, and once saved, the route will appear in your My Routes library, where you can, again, add it to your main route page. So once you've selected your activity, mountain bike or gravel, and chosen navigation, your route will then be ready. So you can start the route or fine-tune how you follow it in that specific settings page. And once you do start the activity, the route following page is easy to read with highlighted arrow lines kind of guiding you forward. And when the route is loaded, additional information like mileage remaining and total time will appear at the bottom. The device also highlights all major climbs. It's actually handy because you can now preview any upcoming climb and their grades while navigating a route, which I think is really neat. You can see how much pain you have forthcoming. So one thing that's not fully developed yet is the auto rerouting. It pulls data from Google Maps, so if you do go offline, it's supposed to reroute you on an alternative route. But what I've only seen is a dotted line kind of guiding me back, but not on a specific trail. In theory, if you do go off route, it should create an alternative option if that alternative option is found in Google Maps. But the problem with that is everywhere I'm usually going, trails or Forest Service roads, Google Maps might not have it. Plus, you do also need to be in cell service for this to work. So this feature is certainly more useful in maybe towns or cities, not in the backcountry. And I've tested it and it just doesn't work very well where I live. Personally, I don't actually use the rerouting functionality much on any head units. I find it drains battery and often doesn't work well for me. If I am off route, I tend to go check my phone for a better overview of alternatives. That said, Coros has mentioned that they are working on fine-tuning this feature in an upcoming firmware update. So the unit can pair with up to 12 sensors at a time. Like other head units, it pairs not only with your smartphone via Bluetooth, but also with any ANT Plus or Bluetooth compatible device. This includes watches, power meters, electronic shifting, radars, and other accessories. A cool feature of pairing with devices like the Coros watch is their seamless integration. So when you start your workout on the Dura, the watch, whether it's the Pace 3 or the Apex 2, it will recognize it and function as a dedicated heart rate monitor, displaying your heart rate. However, the optical heart rate monitor on wrists work well for daily use, but when I'm on the bike, extra movement often kind of leads to inaccurate readings. This has been my experience with all wrist-based watches, including the Whoop. That's why Coros offers an optical heart rate armband, which sits on the bicep. So if you are aiming for highly accurate heart rate data, well, this monitor might be worth considering. That all said, a regular heart rate monitor around the chest also works. Overall, pairing devices is super easy and it is done directly on the device. One thing that I would love to see, however, is, well, if the device automatically set up data fields for, say, electronic shifting or any accessory. Instead, I had to manually add that stuff. Not a big deal, but other devices do prompt you to add them for you, which I think would be nice. So there you have it, the Coros Dura. While simple, yeah, these head units, they still require a lengthy time to review and explain how they work. I think this is like a 20+ minute video at this point. But I did find my way around the Dura without actually feeling overwhelmed, unlike many other GPS head units I've tested. But the biggest takeaway is the incredible value the Dura offers. At $249 USD, you're getting a unit that's cheaper than those from Wahoo, Hammerhead, and most Garmin head units, especially most Garmin Solar head units, while delivering exceptional battery life. Sure, it's not the most elegant device, and there are some growing pains as Coros ventures into its first GPS head unit, but it's a promising start that is certain to disrupt the cycling head unit market. So what do you think about the Coros Dura? The price point, the battery life? Please let me know in the comment section below. And thank you all so much for watching. If you like what you saw in this video and found it useful, please hit that subscribe button and notification bell. And if you want to help support this YouTube channel, everything we're doing at BIKEPACKING.com, you can do so by signing up for the Bikepacking Collective. The Collective offers a lot of awesome perks, including industry discounts, monthly giveaways, and the twice-yearly Bikepacking Journal. So to learn a little bit more about the Bikepacking Collective, you can click on the card in the top right corner here, or else follow the link in the description below. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, pedal further.